Hey, we all love to go out to eat. Who doesn't like to go to a kitchen, to a restaurant? But what happens behind the kitchen doors? Is it all creativity and fun? Is it all craziness? I don't know. We're going to find out with a couple of crazy people here today who are going to tell us a little bit about what that experience
He's the
is
crazy
like.
one.
I'll throw you both in there under the bus. Chef Pascal, who'd you bring today?
Oh,
You're not sure?
it's a whole package.
A whole package.
And Paddy Glennon.
A good Irishman like me.
Chef Paddy, yes. And we just talk about Ireland, but we're not going to spend 2 hours talking about it because
We could, though.
no, because we don't have a good beer.
Yeah. A little scotch.
And so, I met Paddy, I would have to say, about 40 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, he was really young, and
He was really young. You
Still
were
young.
still old, or no? You were both young, right?
yeah, and I was so impressed by that human being. So much energy, never stop, work hard, was speaking French, and then I learned about his background that we're going to talk about, and he's still involved, and he's really helpful in the culinary community, and everybody loves him in Orange County, all the chefs.
What impressed me, and I knew you guys would go through this, but you sent me his bio. I couldn't put it all on one page. Not only is he trained by top Michelin star chefs in France, Italy, all those places, but he apparently was, we're going to hear about that, award-winning chef with a James Beard House recognition.
Yes, and on others. Okay, tell us a little bit of some of your awards.
I don't look at awards as, I'm plate by plate, day by day. It's like I'm always like, you're only as good as what you're doing today.
Yeah,
in our
that's true.
business. In the early days, Food Network, we were on the early shows in the very beginning, and through the early part of Food Network, we were on often. We did back then. Now you have Iron Chef. Back then it was Ready Set Cook, if you remember. And in Ready Set Cook you went against other chefs, and I beat Martin Yang. I beat Wolfgang Puck.
You beat Wolfgang Puck and Martin.
I was undefeated. Yeah, I think I was like 7-8 times on that show. Always undefeated, fast. And you had to create a dish in, like, I think it was like 20 minutes back then.
From scratch.
Yeah.
He's a kind of chef that bang, 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 done.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did a lot of different TV pilots over the years. And, I can't say I ever got famous, but I was always on the edge of the breakthrough.
You are famous in our own world of the food.
Yeah.
And I got to ask Bizarre Foods, because that's a bizarre show.
Andrew Zimmern, a few times we did his show. And he came to our fish company one time and did a full walkthrough, and we were going through all the unique kinds of fish and items you can buy here in the Pacific. Everything from sea cucumbers to urchins and things like that was what we dined upon in the coolers.
So from being a chef with a Michelin star level restaurant, we met at a restaurant called Antoine. Was really one of the top restaurants in 1984 to 1990 at the Meridian Hotel. And he was also working with a French chef consultant, a 3-star chef that came on. And they really, the consultant chef, French chef, and him work very well together. And then the kitchen was fantastic. It was there's no restaurant of that level anymore in Orange County.
No.
And there was really
doesn't exist.
No.
Is that because there isn't an audience for it, or it's unaffordable?
Well, we do have like Marché Moderne. We have Knife Pleat. I mean, they're doing fantastic work.
Yes.
Knife Pleat people talk about all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic restaurants of a high level. And back then, there was less rules when it came to employees. We worked 5-6 hours a day off the clock before they let us punch in to work on the clock.
Right.
And it was just the amount of work that goes into that type of cuisine, and luckily for me, those same gentlemen, Bruno Serino and Jacques Maxima, they sent me to France
Yes.
to work, and I was there for about 7 years in France.
Not just to polish your French, but
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. But even in those kitchens in France, during season, like there is no such thing as time off. There is no such thing as days off.
No,
I mean,
no.
you go like 5-6 months, and
but hard
yeah.
work. That's
Yeah.
what you say. Hard work is no big deal for you.
yeah,
You-
no big deal.
no,
Yeah,
that's a way to be.
So it's just
And-
not plausible to put the kind
yeah.
of
The
effort
type
and
of
hours
work.
into it.
Yeah, the type of work in today's modern employee. You know how much we have to pay chefs and cooks and servers and things now.
Yeah, and they got to get a break after 15 minutes.
there
or
are-
4 hours or whatever.
There are wonderful restaurants here. I don't think of that level. Orange County will support the price tag it would cost
Yeah.
to
Right.
make
Yeah,
dishes
yeah,
like
yeah.
that today.
And one of the actually, even the chef from Orange County used to come and visit, like Joachim Spiegel, the
Yeah.
one who created Patina.
Joachim, yeah.
Joachim used to come regularly and check you out, guys.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It really was a special time. It was the top fame of Wolfgang Puck and Joachim, the whole thing, and you were right there.
You're rattling off all the big names I
And-
heard
and
of when I came to California in the
I'll,
80s. Yeah.
I'll tell you maybe something you didn't know. When I left, I was at the Le Grand Hotel in Saint-Jean-de-Luz, and Bruno left. And usually when you're a Michelin restaurant in France,
You lose the stuff.
you either destroy the kitchen on your way out or you start a new kitchen. That's
Yeah.
how you do it,
Yeah.
right? And he was leaving, so he destroyed the kitchen. So I was one of his top guys. He gave me the choice to go to Robichon, Paris, back with Alain Ducasse, who was at that time he was in Monte Carlo already. And
Isn't that the guy you studied with, Chef? Or did you start with Alan Ducasse? No.
No.
No,
There was somebody you
I,
read a lot.
I work with Alain Ducasse
Oh,
in
okay,
France.
right.
But anyways, or go back to the United States, and I gave the offer out with people around me at that time. They chose America, so I was like, went back to America, but I was forbidden to work with Joachim. I was
Wow.
forbidden to work with Michel Richard.
Yeah.
I was forbidden to work with the top of the
You're
food
kidding.
of that time, because back then there was no internet, there was no
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
no YouTube, there was no Instagram.
So you have to spy.
Yeah. So you have to spy. So for me to come from the top things happening in France and bring it back to America and work under these guys, those guys wouldn't have it.
No,
so,
no.
if I was smart enough to know, I would have gone to work with those guys, because those guys were the greats of.
You will.
Yeah, I would have had an
Well,
easier
yeah.
go.
Yeah. Michel
But-
Richard was amazing.
Oh,
too.
Michel, and I
Unbelievable.
knew him over time.
Yeah,
We had a lot of mutual friends and respect, but at that time I was forbidden to work with those guys, because I had the new technology of France and Spain was coming up at that time.
So I was lucky enough to work in the same environment kitchen, but for different restaurant in that hotel. But I always sneak in.
Sneak
See how,
in to
see how he was doing
to
his,
sniff around.
his beautiful deconstructed lobster. He
Yeah.
put it back on the plate. It looked like a full lobster, but all skin,
Décortiqué,
chef
yeah,
décortiqué and
yeah.
beautiful, and put some
Oh, my
little
goodness.
tortellini on bottom and beautiful lobster sauce. Was fantastic.
That
Yeah.
presentation alone, how do you plate stuff like that? That
Yeah,
takes a
it's-
while.
It's crazy, and as things in France, like my chef would go into San Sebastian, Spain, to the market where they do everything pêche à la ligne, everything caught by hand by line, right?
Oh.
And he would buy the fish of that morning, which would be in rigor mortis at the time. We couldn't use that until maybe nighttime service or maybe lunch the next day. So we were always like one day ahead for the fish to get through rigor mortis. But literally, you don't touch the fish until the order comes in.
Yeah.
And then you have to scale it, fillet it, pin bone it, order by order by order with your crew. and
we used
that
to
was
have
crazy.
we used to have overnight fish flowing from
Yeah.
France or from not Denmark but Netherlands.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Felix van Stad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Felix, and
Yeah.
they used to pick it up at the airport and bring it
Yeah.
straight to us. You know.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And and then you work after that with the Ritz Carlton.
Yeah, I was a long time with Christian Racinou for a while.
Yeah.
I owned restaurants in LA myself. One of my groups that we had, we owned about 4 restaurants in LA at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
We were very well known as Italian trattorias, but we opened Fleetwood's LA Blues with Mick Fleetwood at the time, and we had liquor license problems, and it was a difficult time.
I think
but
it was
yeah.
really extreme.
Oh my God, man! Yeah. So, but it was a great time, very artistic. Everything was artistic.
Mhm,
Everything was about art, cuisine, food, and money never crossed our minds.
But you
know?
try Hollywood.
Oh yeah, we did Hollywood. Yeah, I ran the Bellage, Mondrian, Vernet, Le Parc hotels all at
That's
once.
probably what
Yeah.
gave you the exposure to the Food Network and
Yeah.
all these medias.
Yeah.
So here's my question. I hear all that, and I'm impressed, and we can talk all day about that because I love all that. But somewhere along the way, you switched sides to become into the purveyors.
Yes.
You left the kitchen, and you.
I have to say, kind of the path he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
I rarely see that usually.
He was involved because Paddy is very a big advocate of sustainability,
Sustainability.
sustainability,
Right.
and respectful farming and respectful fishing,
Mm-hmm.
and was involved actually with the
The Ecology Center. I
no,
see
no, no,
that.
no, no, in Monterey,
Oh,
The
Monterey.
Bay Aquarium.
Monterey Bay
yeah.
Aquarium.
Okay.
And he was an advocate for them, and so he brought back all that knowledge to us chef to say, hey, don't buy that fish, it's not been cut right, and this is a farming salmon, don't use this one. So he gave us the tip to get the best seafood and best fish available.
With the least environmental impact.
Yeah.
So is that what
And-
led you into the purveyor side and out of the
Yeah,
kitchen door?
Honestly, what led me into that was complete burnout. It was.
Well, you did a lot already in restaurant.
Like if you look at my life in the kitchens, I was always like, I was working here, being flown to Chicago to consult there to do. It was like complete burnout.
Can we
And-
talk something about
Yeah.
about outside of your kitchen life?
Yeah,
Being burned out?
yeah, yeah. If you want, yeah.
He used, I don't know if you do, he used to fight sport fights. And can you say a few words on that?
Oh yeah. Well, especially in France, I started young. When I was a kid, where I worked out, where I was young, the policeman had a boxing club there, and unbeknownst to my mother, who didn't want me to fight, I fought, and I was able through different parts of my life to work with great, very well-known professional fighters. But when I went to France to make money, I had done some prize fighting, and when I went to France to make money, because we were paid well under minimum wage, we would get in these tournaments, almost like cockfighting, and the rich people would bet on you, but you'd make enough money, to live okay and be able to go to the
The reason
nightclub.
I bring that up, because that gave you the character. He's a fighter, and he never stopped. He still, fight on his own just to in his living. But how many times do you break your hips?
My hips, never broke my hips,
No.
but I have my knees replaced,
your
but
knees.
my hands have been broken so many times. My nose, I'm beautiful, but my nose is broken at least 9 times, I
So
think.
Chef
yeah.
tells me once in a while there's some fights break out behind the kitchen doors. Did you ever participate in any of that? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
people throwing stuff at each
If,
other.
if they broke out, they ended quick. Yeah.
No, but it's usually verbal fights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
verbal fights. Yeah,
Yeah.
the that style of kitchen, I hope doesn't exist anymore, because there was some negativity to that too. You know, especially when I worked in Europe, like during season, if you weren't the amount of hours and the pressure you were under of perfection at all times, people would break down. So literally they'd be breaking down, tears would be coming out of their eyes, the tears would hit the plate, then they get ripped for tears hitting the plate, and people would like have nervous, I was in kitchens where people literally had nervous breakdowns. And the way we were, you just step over those people and keep working.
I experienced that because we were strong. And sometimes some cooks could not handle the strongness.
Just push them aside and keep going.
Push them aside, keep going.
But they would never been messing up with him because they know.
They know his other side here. So, but that's what we see on TV, the Gordon Ramsays and stuff, or the Hell Kitchen.
Well, Gordon Ramsay, it's great. He's a great guy, and he's a great chef. That's kind of a show where they get a bunch of chuckleheads, knuckleheads together and yell at them basically for fun.
Sure.
Like they don't on those Hell's Kitchen.
They sang a waiver first.
Yeah, they don't put people on there that know what they're doing. So they set the show up to be catastrophic.
So character oriented.
You're top chef and things like that. That's more of a that's a fun thing where people go through a gauntlet of many different challenges and things, and people have risen up from there. A lot of my friends that have gone on there and won, or even one of my really close friends, he came in fourth. He's one of the most prolific restaurateurs in America. He just got out there and put himself on the early shows, and for some people, that's their pathway now to being known. Like when you were saying what awards you get, I actually want to shy away from that because I have garnered a lot in my life, but that doesn't do anything about today. So I'm very much like, what are we doing today?
So now on back today. Now we call you the fishmonger. All right. So,
did they really use that term still, like the 1700s or something?
It's there's a few of us that are fishmongers that are have worked professional boats, that have filleted fish all our lives, have worked hard in the fish industry. So like when chefs ask me about something in spring, it's not like, I'll find out in spring. It's like, no, I know what's going to happen. I know what will be available or not available approximately, because we know, it's part of our DNA now,
And do you actually talk to the boats and the captains?
No, a lot of the way that works in California is there are smaller boat fisheries in Southern California here. The rockfish fishery is in full recovery, which was collapsed in like the 1950s or so.
Right.
Through in 1997, the government, the House and Senate passed a bill within the Magnuson-Stevenson Act, which is our sustainability as a country. They amended that by 2012, all oceans, lakes, streams, and offshore fishing was under sustainable quota managed by 2012. So here we are, 2025.
Because they were overfishing these things.
Yeah, they were overfishing. That they weren't keeping up with the science, and now the science has caught up also with fishing, and it's a good
fishing and also shellfish and like lobster. Now we have more lobster we ever had.
Because I was going to say, I've heard that on the East Coast they're still under problems that lobster is still overfished, or the cod.
The cod is under quota management now. It didn't get put under quota management quick enough in Canada. They collapsed the fishery. They cut back the East Coast cod fishery on George's Bank, where I had the pleasure of working a little bit as a young kid. Cod, haddock, pollock, ocean cat is what we used to catch, but that was on the verge of collapsing as well. Right. Everything is under management now, so we don't take from the ocean more that can reproduce to keep the levels.
How do they police that? I mean, do they actually pull up and look at the boats and what you got?
Like the lobster, they decide that, we have an idea. Why don't we put back the female lobster back in the ocean so we can have reproduction?
Yeah, they don't take eggers. Yeah, no females.
I didn't know that.
It's
but
amazing.
and now that we have that, small boats and families are able to fish again and turn their boats over to their children. So I'm dealing a lot more with children of people that are retiring, and their children are taking over the boats.
Because I did live in San Pedro in the 80s and 90s, or in the 90s rather, and that was when the small boats were collapsing.
Yes,
They
yeah, well,
were-
that was during the collapse of the rockfish fishery,
Right.
Yeah.
black cod, everything else.
Fortunately, now people understand that we need to support the fishermen, and we pay, of course, a higher price for good fish, but at least pay the price so we fishermen can make a living.
Yeah, good fish isn't cheap, and cheap fish isn't good.
Cheap fish isn't good. That's it. So that's my next
Yeah.
question. There's
But
a
you
lot
know,
of
I'll throw a point out there for your listeners to understand is over 92% of all seafood consumed in the United States of America is imported.
that's what I was
And
gonna
it's not
say.
imported with the same stringent guidelines that our aquaculture follows or our wild fishers follow. We are the blueprint for the rest of the world, yet we as consumers, we like cheap and
Yeah.
we import.
So
you know?
that was my question. You led me right there. What's the quality? What's the state of the fisheries around the world that we're buying from? Are we overfishing those areas?
They're
And-
being overfished, and it's not only overfishing. You have countries such as North Korea and South Korea, China. They're in a live for now attitude.
Yeah.
So if it's there, they're going to catch it,
right.
and they're going to consume it. So
And what about the way they catch it too? Because that was the whole problem with when they were doing deep nets or something here. They're scooping up everything trying
yeah,
to get
those
it.
purse seine nets where
Saying that,
Just,
yeah.
just imagine, there's so many poke restaurants. How much fish can we catch?
What a
Just
nice
to-
question.
sushi and poke. Yeah,
I
it's
know,
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, and
So they're still doing that where they put these giant nets and they scoop
the
up
circular,
everything.
yeah, the circular nets
And
that
then
go
they throw
down a mile,
They
and then
throw most of it out because
they-
that's not what they wanted. Yeah.
They pull it in, and there's a lot of bycatch, marine animal bycatch. That's why you have what's called dolphin-safe tuna in America.
Right.
Yeah.
And all they did is they went offshore. Then they left San Diego, they left San Pedro, and they went to Samoan Islands and offshore where they have AKA dolphin safe, but it's not U.S. dolphin
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
But it still goes on your grocery store shelf as dolphin safe. So there are porpoises and pilot whales and things in that can of tuna that you have, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
it has the stamp on it that the consumer
You know,
buys.
the key, pay the price. You
Yeah.
buy a can of tuna, just
Yeah.
Let's go one step further.
There's
How
a
about
lot. There's a lot of great. AmericanTuna.com is a great place to go to buy your
Okay.
tuna. Those are fishers out of San Diego County, Poland line, or where they have zero bycatch. and-
Exactly.
And if you want very good fish, if you don't have access, because now Paddy also work with another fish company who is very one of the best.
Yeah,
Big
Su-
one.
Superior Seafood, which is
amazing.
owned by Paul Guillermo, who is the son of one of those squid fishermen
Ah.
that you might have seen in San Pedro back in the
Wow,
day.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they,
Sicilian immigrants, yes.
they're very respectful for
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah, generational.
So
And
the other question that I have is, what's the state of the fish? In addition to being overfished, we're always worried about what are these fish ingesting? Mercury, crap,
Well,
pesticides.
they-
other
you know,
things.
mercury. You know, mercury is one of those things. Is mercury exists in? It's a naturally occurring phenomena. It settles within water, and within water, it settles into plankton. Plankton are the kind of the sponge of the ocean. They're the canary of the ocean as well.
Right.
And then your lower species, such as squid, mackerel, sardines, they eat the phytoplanktons
Right.
in mass quantities. So because they are lower on the chain where they're eating so much of the phytoplanktons, they are the ones that have the higher concentration of mercury. So which fish that you consume eats the most mercury would be the fish that consume those fish, which is your sharks, your tunas, and your swordfish. Those are the ones you'll have the higher mercury content in.
And usually bigger the fish is, more chance he has more mercury.
Yeah, the bigger the fish that eats lower on the food chain
Yeah,
is
yes.
pretty much the answer to
Yet
that.
American diet has moved
Yeah.
away from, at least what I grew up in the Midwest, meat, potatoes kind of thing, that descendant of the Irish cuisine, the English cuisine, too much more seafood. it's supposed to be healthier and better for you.
Seafood, no matter what, is even not farmed well, is healthier than land-based proteins that are done in equally bad farming conditions.
Yeah,
Okay, so
right.
one of the things to think about when it comes to aquaculture and like farm salmon, for instance, they grow a lot faster with a lot less feed. And the number one reason is they don't have this thing to deal with called gravity that a chicken has to. So their energy output that they put compared to a land-based animal that has to sit on 2 feet or 4 feet upright versus gravity, they will ultimately consume less. So we can feed more people through aquaculture than we can with land-based.
Never ever heard that.
Yeah,
Never
but
heard
at
that.
the same time, we got to do it right. There's
You
a
have to
lot
do
of
it. You don't want to give them, bad food.
Yeah,
to,
there's a lot
to
of-
make them fat.
there's a lot of there's a lot of farms out there, if people do their research, that do the right job.
Yeah,
There's a lot of farms out there that have great marketing
yeah.
that don't do the right job.
No.
You have to
You-
kind of trust
You
your
think, oh, they grow in the wild, but they're actually in the park.
Yeah.
And in that park, they eat from each other. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's really.
Well-
and we are actually polluting the ocean because of that.
Yeah, well, you have one of the basic things to keep in mind is on the aquaculture feed in North America, South America, Canada. The majority of feed comes from 2 companies, and the main ingredient in the feed is dehydrated pork blood from land-based commodity farming.
This is the pellets or something
Yep,
they feed the
yep.
fish? Yeah.
Chicken
Yeah.
feather meal, chicken carcass meal, chicken fat meal, and then they have some land-based vegetable proteins from corn, from soy, and they have corn, but those are from genetically modified crops that go into that.
Oh, great.
So, and then they have a little bit of fish oil. So they'll talk about how they've diminuted the fish oils, and they'll say we have land-based vegetable proteins in it, and then they'll keep the chicken feathers and the pork blood, which is the majority of the feed, out of the conversation.
Terrible diet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
of those companies, one is owned by Bayer, which is the owner now of Monsanto, and the other is DuPont. So
Chemical companies
these
are
are
owning
chemical companies that own the
They
fish
put that
feed
in the ocean.
So
in the
this is
water.
what, and the same thing for the land-based chickens and things is like, you have to, why would you buy wild fish from a local fisherman for more money than a farm fish cheap in a grocery store?
Talking about
Yeah.
that,
'Cause, is you're getting the proper nutrition.
people think, oh, it's going to be a wild salmon. I'm buying Atlantic salmon.
Right.
It's not from Atlantic salmon. It's a breed.
Yeah.
And can you talk about it?
Atlantic salmon is the name. You see that, that's the most common fish.
Always.
Probably 50% of all seafood companies, 50% of what we sell, I hate to say, is Atlantic salmon.
Yeah.
In mass quantities, and you'll see it on every, so many restaurant menus. And Atlantic salmon is actually the species of wild salmon for the Atlantic Ocean. All right. When I was a young boy, it was under quota management, and my grandfather used to take us into Canada, and we could only buy from the Indian tribes and Atlantic salmon. And they found that salmon was good for aquaculture. First started in Norway back in the day.
That it could be tamed and
Yeah,
grown
so,
in mass.
and
right.
there was a very slow learning curve when it came to aquaculture on that, but they've got it down now. So now it becomes commodity in a lot of ways in farming. And there are farms that are doing the right thing with their feed, everything else.
Like Scottish.
Yeah, Scottish, I would say 85% of Scottish is great.
Yeah.
There is those 15% companies that use whale oils within their feed, and they don't, of course, they don't market that, but it's cheaper because they do still have the right to kill whales up in that area.
Up in Norway, especially.
In Norway as well. So the problem, and I'll tell you, I've been on the other side of the stove for a long time, and I've been deep in, I would say, the bowels of distribution in the industry.
Literally the bowels of distribution.
And I
yeah.
worked pretty much undercover with Greenpeace, Humane Society back in the day.
Wow, okay.
I was part of finding out things that we wish we didn't know once we knew it, but it's the reality of our food system being owned so much by Wall Street, pretty much. Very few companies own our companies. You look at even Whole Foods Market's owned by Amazon now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not terrible, but it's like once you look into the farms that they're now buying from, the names of the individual farms, you'll see, and I already see it in Whole Foods, the names are disappearing.
Yeah.
And they're the
Because
names
it's
of the farm,
about it's about profit.
It's
and
about
it's
profit.
about
Exactly.
and it's about the bottom line and how to grow the bottom line rather than sustain a generational
Well, that's why
business.
we
Yeah.
need to educate the buyer on the people that eat fish. Can we check on the website of the Monterey
Well,
Aquarium?
Monterey Bay Aquarium, fantastic starting point. It
Yeah.
is a starting point. They're mainly funded by the Hewlett Packard Foundation. Fantastic. They've done a great job with their green, red, yellow. Green, this is good. Yellow is good, but it has some issues, possibly bycatch issues, whatever. Red, please don't eat that. But as a group and an aquarium themselves, they can only do.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but somebody's calling who want to talk to you.
Oh, no.
Coming in. Incoming.
Hello?
Salut Pascal.
Hey, qui c'est? Oh, c'est Christian. Salut toi.
Racino.
We're getting a live phone call.
C'est
in.
Patrick.
Salut Patrick.
Hey, ça va toi? T'es où là? C'est Floride ou international?
Miami.
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 Super. Says they're one of the best chefs on the entire planet.
He's
Christian
calling in
Racino.
from Miami.
Yeah.
Yes. And he used to be the chef at the Ritz Carlton.
Yeah. Yeah, he was my chef. Yes.
Well, there you go. Have him call in on the line here. We'll
And-
put him on the air. He can call in on the phone.
Can you give a number?
Oh, if he calls 949-824-1200.
Okay.
Call that and we'll put you on the air. 949-824-1200.
824-9200.
Right. Call that number and we'll put you on the air.
Oh wow, quelle surprise. What a surprise.
Okay. I'll call you right back.
Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
so I
we're
wanted
good.
to-
They're calling in.
That's
yeah.
one of
Shoot
the.
that for
That's
nothing.
one of that Christian Racino. He has mentored some of the greatest chefs in America, still around today.
And where is he currently in Miami?
He's in Miami, Florida, and he was very big within the Ritz Carlton group, and he was the Ritz Carlton Laguna Niguel here, and when the Ritz Carlton Laguna Niguel was the jewel of the coast, of the whole West Coast,
Yeah.
and from his kitchen, some of the most famous chefs today have worked through that kitchen
Wow.
with Christian.
Everybody remember him.
Yeah.
There is not like a week that somebody asks me, what happened to Christian? What is he
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it's
my God.
amazing.
He's in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Distinguished artist, artist not just in food but in painting.
Yes.
He's an incredible painter. Yeah, incredible.
He's a philosopher. Really.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, we're still waiting for him to call in here.
So
Maybe you need to
when we
text him
come
here.
back after the call, and we will come back on land, so we move out of the ocean, we come back on almost on land, both coastal and land. We have.
While we're waiting for him, let me ask you one other question. This is just me as somebody who likes to go out and eat seafood in Southern California. Two questions. One, I don't see a lot of great seafood anymore in California. Is that just too expensive and too hard to get? And when I do get, maybe this is just me, an old grumpy guy, it doesn't seem to taste the same. Is that,
Well,
is that my perception or is that some reality? Harder to get?
you probably have to do a little bit more younger research and where you go.
Okay.
There are some great chefs in Orange County, San Diego, LA, breaking barriers down, breaking national barriers down. I have a young chef, Tara Masood, in San Diego. She runs Anime, Filipina chef. She's been nominated a few times now for the James Beard National Award.
Okay.
Incredible thing, but she's bringing she works with the local fishermen in San Diego. I have a lot of chefs. Like, we do well as a company. and when they're interested in doing that type of work, that they want to work with a local fisherman, I do have fishermen that work directly with the I have fishermen that work directly with the restaurants, and we try to connect them together. It's not as easy than chefs like
I'll
to
give
pick
you
up.
number again.
Chefs like to pick up the phone and call and have their fish delivered the next day and not think it through. But these young chefs are
949 824.
We're still trying to get
We're still trying to get him on. He's a great chef, but he can't figure out the phone system here.
1200. D'accord? Okay.
So I'm wondering if it's what you're talking about. We're getting it overseas. They're growing them wrong. It doesn't taste the same.
I think especially since COVID, people have simplified down and they've had to cut their staff down because it's so expensive for staff now. But there is a lot of great restaurants out there, but you have to do a little bit more research these days.
Okay,
You know?
hang on 1 second. We'll put you on. Hang on. See if this will work. Are you there? Welcome to OC Talk Radio. You there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, what a surprise.
Identify yourself. Tell us who you are and why you're calling.
Well, I'm Christian Rassinou. I used to be, before I retired, I used to be executive chef for Ritz Carlton for many years.
Wow. And Laguna Niguel or whatever.
Yes, and I had, yesterday I was talking to Pascal, and Pascal told me to go back today because a good friend would be there, which is Patrick.
Wow.
So
what a surprise.
So do you accept what they're telling you? They're telling me that you're one of the great chefs here, that you've mentored all sorts of people, and everybody's still wondering what happened to you.
No, I'm just a chef amongst many.
So how do you know this guy? How do you know our guest?
Well, Patrick used to work for me, and I...
Was he any good? We're still trying to figure that out. Was he any good?
Can you give us a secret?
He was fantastic. I mean, he was going like 100 miles an hour. And it was very, very hard to ask him to take a day off and to work only 12 hours a day.
To work only 12 hours a day. He wanted to keep going.
Yes. He was just going and going. He was just amazing man. And then very, very creative and great with the staff, great trainer. I mean, he was, nobody's perfect, okay? But he was about like perfection.
So how did we lose him to the supply side? How did we get him out of the kitchen into being a supplier here? Should we get him back into the kitchen?
I forget that.
I was with c'était avec Philippe, Philippe Levet.
You work with Philippe, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure they were. Well, Philippe was always, saying a lot of good things about you.
Yeah.
When I was.
But Paul, when you've been working like 30 or 35 years, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, you at one point say, I need to revise my...
Yeah.
Enough.
Well, it's good. There's a common friend amongst all of us, Phil Levy, French-Algerian family. They own Fish Warehouse in L.A. Took care of all the top chefs of the time. Of that that generation, and he was one of my best friends, and he said, hey, come with me. I was burnt out, I was tired. A lot of the way restaurants, if Chef remembers, a lot of restaurants in LA and friends that he had that worked with him went on, the funding wasn't what it was supposed to be, and a lot of people were doing funny business back in the day.
They call it funny business.
Yeah, you get tired of putting your heart and soul in a place that really, on paper, didn't exist.
I feel like we are up to the Bear Show right now.
Yeah. And Phil said one time I was taking over a project with some big people on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. I was burnt out.
There you go.
We had a record label with Capitol Records. We had
Right
a
there.
nightclub attached to it. And literally I was opening the door and there was no money in the bank. at all.
Wow.
And they wanted me to fire the door open. I'm like, I have 80 employees and are gonna expect a paycheck, and I couldn't do it anymore. I've been through it too many times, and Phil said, "Come with me," and that's when it actually happened back then.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and a common friend with Christian and myself, Phil, is one of the best. Yeah.
So how has it changed? Our guest has been around a long time. You say you're retired now? I didn't. Chef Pascal says you never retire. There's no such thing as retiring.
I don't
No,
think Christian is totally
I,
retired.
I retired just before COVID and started a company actually in China to produce some sauces, some creative sauces,
Oh.
and cold and hot. And then we were doing very well with foreign hotels, with Hilton and Mandarin, and they were very interested in the sauces. And we were supposed to start production in January 20. And you know what happened then? With
Yeah.
COVID, everything stops.
So Chef Christian would love if you come to Orange County to come and talk more about.
Please, we'd
what
love
you
to
do.
hear about those
Yeah.
days at
Yeah,
the Ritz
and
Carlton.
I'll say this to Christian again. Christian has impacted more lives in the culinary world than anyone else around. He has so many young chefs that came up through him, through his mentoring, that have gone off to do great things in America and abroad and around the world. He's truly one of the greatest that ever
And
graced the stove.
I'm sorry to have to say for this big high-end chain of hotel, but you made the Ritz Carlton going up
Yeah.
a notch above all the other hotels in Orange County in U.S. actually.
That was the place. That was the place.
Yes.
So I got to ask Christian one question here, because Chef Pascal keeps bringing these young chefs in, and none of them want to work behind the kitchen door. They all want to have a food truck. They all want to have a food hall, a stand. They all want to have a food line or a product. They all want to be on TV and sell T-shirts or sell books. Is it a different world? You guys did
Yes.
anything to get behind the kitchen door, and you worked for nothing, for hours, forever.
It's
Is it-
passion. That was passion.
is it
Pure
different?
passion.
I don't want to say that we work for nothing, but
You were fanatics.
I
Yeah.
mean, there was passion. You have to be passionate to work in this business. You deal. I always say there's only two types of food in the world. There's good and bad. No matter,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. If it's a simple burger, it has to be the best you ever done.
But-
If you as a customer, you go to a restaurant and order, a dish for $300 or a dish for $17, it doesn't matter what comes out of the kitchen.
Still got to be good.
It has to be perfect because you expect perfection.
Yeah.
And if it's perfect, you will go back to that restaurant.
So the three of you have seen many restaurants. Do you think it's different today? Certainly different how they work. Our guest was saying you can't do fine French cuisine because it takes too many hours. It takes too much prep. It takes too much staff to do it. So that's why that's not going to happen
Well,
anymore.
Paul, I think this is more our vision in California. But if you go to the East Coast or
Okay.
Yeah,
to big
Chicago,
cities,
New York,
Chicago,
yeah.
New York,
The
then you still have-
the clientele there will pay the price it costs to produce that. I
Okay.
mean, you have like Le Bernardin in Grand Achat in Chicago. You have places that the people understand that a $350 tasting menu is normal, and the wines are going to be in the $800 range.
Wow. Yeah.
And they will come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Every day.
Every day. Whereas in California, I hate to say, is it gets busy on Friday and Saturday, and then what do these restaurants do Monday through Thursday to support this staff?
Taco Tuesday.
A lot of our restaurants since COVID, I deal with mostly the high-end restaurants and chefs, and we'll take care of anybody. We'll educate anybody. We'll take care of whoever
Sure.
wants to buy good product from us. But they've closed on Mondays and Tuesdays
Mm-hmm.
now. Major restaurants. In the old days, you would never be closed. I have a restaurant. We're going to be open. You know.
Yeah, and it's hard. How does that work out financially? Because you're still paying higher rents than ever, higher labor costs than ever. How can you be closed for 2 or 3 days?
Actually, it does help on cut on labor.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
you have to do that.
If you're between someone even at someone at the register or a host, say in a fine dining,
Right.
you have a hostess, you have at least one waiter, a bartender, at least one busboy, at least one dishwasher, one prep cook, one cook, all right, and a manager, right? Your payroll for lunch is $1,500, but you only do $800 in receipts
Yeah.
for the day.
Right.
There's no sense to be open on a Monday.
Right.
You know?
Let them go home.
And for lunch sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending on the location, but most of the
Yeah.
time, just
You know,
open for
today
dinner.
we just had two major restaurants who were very good. In Miami, we just closed in 2 months' time,
Wow.
just because they could not afford the rent
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
The
looking
rent-
at
the rent and the expense.
some of the rents that we have now, like Dana Point Harbor's being redone. I don't know the exact numbers, but I
Mhm.
do know the numbers. And there's a new project that just opened in San Juan Capistrano.
The food hall.
They're,
Yeah.
Well, they're paying $17 plus.
Yeah,
A square foot.
We need to send a message to
You know?
to all the landlord of retail landlord in
Yeah.
Orange County. Come on,
Yeah.
give us a break.
Yeah, well, that's why a lot of these big companies in Orange County, for instance, our Orange County is owned by very few companies.
Right.
Don't mention me.
And I won't,
Don't-
I won't mention names.
They'll come down on
Yeah,
us here.
and,
right.
but
Yeah.
they, to get a lease with them, you have to be financially independent yourself. So the independent chef can't really afford to sign a 5-year lease with these groups because it costs too much money. So ultimately they have to take in investors and all that. And by the time the chef gets to open the front door, he really doesn't own much
He's
of
already
anything.
broke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's already broke. So
That's right.
that's why we have more like chain restaurants in Orange County, for
I agree.
instance. You know?
Well, just to give you a perspective, everybody listening, 20 years ago, I owned a small restaurant and bar, mostly a bar, called Kelly McHugh's in Mission Viejo. We were 5,000 square feet, which was pretty big for that. We were paying in 1990, in the early 90s, $1 a foot.
Wow.
Yeah, great. Wow.
$1 a foot.
We'll open 10 restaurants with that today.
Yeah. How could I pay 15? And I, like everybody, we made 15% on our investment. So we grossed $1 million. We made $100,000 or a couple $100,000. We were thrilled. And today, if you take my rent and turn it into $10, $15, I can't afford that.
A lot of restaurants turn about 2 to 3% profit. It's
Oh.
crazy.
Yeah, and I tell you, we're like the OGs, the old guard.
You are, yeah.
Or I think they call it
The old original gangster.
original gangsters. Yeah.
We
But,
have the goats.
yeah, the goats. But the young chefs now, I see a surgence now, especially since COVID. I see a surgence now of young chefs and more ethnic chefs
Yes,
that are
very much
really
so.
changing the dial and opening doors for more people. And they have the internet. They've grown up with the internet, so they can research stuff in a flick of a hat. Where we would have to go and live in the attics of restaurants and have to work
Right.
just to get closer to see how they did something. They can YouTube it now at any time, so they can work outside of their own training very easily with the internet help. But also the amount of ingredients that they have.
Yeah.
The amount of ingredients
Oh,
that they
the sources
of
is
the
unbelievable.
international trade
Yeah.
and sourcing is at a much higher level than we were ever
yeah.
privy to.
So
you
one
know?
last question for Christian, then we'll let him go here because it's 3 hours later in Miami here.
Okay.
One question for you. As you listen to this, does it make you want to get back in, or are you glad you got out?
Well, I've been doing consulting in task force
Always, yeah.
because retirement is too boring. So I've been doing that, and I'm very happy. I do lecture in hotel schools and work with hotels, but I just want to say something.
Sure.
Talking about the younger generation of chefs. What I miss today is the passion. You know, I just give you, you were talking about gourmet cuisine. To me, yes, it's very nice to see a beautiful plate. Looks great in the picture, but how about the flavor? You know, too often I'm missing the flavor. And I just come back from Europe, you know, Italy, France, and Switzerland, and went to too many restaurants, and unfortunately, a great majority of the restaurants are just okay.
Yeah.
I give you an example, okay? I was going through the street of Arles. Arles is a beautiful city in Provence, close to the Mediterranean. There is a beautiful arena, was built by the Roman. And I was looking for a restaurant, going through the street, and I hear somebody singing, okay? So I thought to my wife, oh, listen to that. So we go, turn around in the street there, and there's a gentleman who's singing very loud, and he's setting up table. So I go to him, I says, you know, if your food is as good as your singing and your joie de vivre,
We'll stay.
I'm going to come and have lunch. And we did have lunch there, and it was fantastic. It was not expensive. It was fantastic. And after that, I spoke to the chef, and I told him, I said, thank you, because your cuisine is not pretentious, but it was excellent. And if I was living in Arles, I would come back every day.
Yeah.
And Christian, you are so totally right. You know, I like to travel with groups in everywhere in Mediterranean, Greece, and in Turkey, and I always look for little mom and pop restaurant in the corner, not the tourist place.
Because they still have the passion.
They do.
Yeah. Well, I tell you guys, we just had Green Feast, the
We want to
fundraising,
talk about that.
the fundraising table at the Ecology Center in San Juan, and we've been a part of that for 18 years. And I was tired. I had worked at work. We've had long hours with a computer change at work. You know, we broke that 100-hour week for a couple weeks. And we're
Okay.
tired. And I went there to work, and I was working, and I was running from one kitchen to the other with ingredients. And the pastry chef, the baker, Veronica, she had done some sourdough flatbreads. And I have to tell you, I took one bite, and I might have been extremely hungry, but I got to tell you, it was one of the best bread I've ever eaten in my entire
Really?
life.
Wow.
And that was a young chef today doing that, and it's from the heart, like Christian was saying, from passion. The ingredients that went into it, how she did it, the 3 days fermentation.
So it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
expensive. It
No.
doesn't have to be
No.
difficult.
Simple can be simple with flavor, like Chef says.
Cook with
Yeah.
love and passion,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
use the best ingredient to deliver the best food.
Love it. Anything else you want to say? Thank you so much for calling in. What a
Yeah.
pleasure
Oh my
to
God,
talk
man.
to you. We should have you on for your own segment sometime.
One of my favorite people in my entire life is calling in, and one of the other favorite people in my entire life is sitting across from me.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
almost, guys, I'm
A
almost
love
in-
fest. We
I'm
got a love
almost in
fest going
tears.
on here.
And I hope Christian is still painting, because he's an amazing painter.
There you go.
All right, Christian, thank you for calling, and it was so nice to
You're
talk to you.
welcome. Thank you.
Allez, ciao.
stay
Merci,
in-
chef. Huh?
Stay in touch. We
All
love
right,
you.
and come on again sometime when you got more time. We'll tell more stories of the Ritz Carlton and all that.
Anytime. Love it.
Thank you so much. We're going to
Bye.
cut you off here.
Thank you. Have a nice
All right.
uh,
So,
bye-bye.
bye-bye. Now,
Wow,
okay,
look at that.
we move from ocean to land, and you mentioned the ecology center.
Right. We got 5
And-
minutes.
Just quickly say what's your involvement or what the ecology center bring to us.
And tell us what it is, because I never heard of it.
The Ecology Center was founded 18 years ago by Evan Marks, who is a horticulturist who had done a lot of work in South America, getting farmers in more modern land-based techniques.
How they grow it.
And
yeah.
he's an incredible individual, passionate, and he got the grant from the city of San Juan Capistrano to take over a small building, which is the oldest wooden structure in South Orange County. It was part of the Pony Express back in the day.
Oh my goodness.
And he
right.
had the farmhouse of this farm, and about an acre, 3/4 of an acre. And after around COVID, the farmer that had the lease for the land came to the end of his lease, and the city gave the land over to the ecology center, and they have since taken that farm, which was doing mostly like cucumbers and strawberries, and they had a farm stand, but they bought the vegetables in, and now the ecology center is doing well over 700 varietals a year,
Yeah.
from cover crops to.
Is this what they call heirloom crops? You know,
Well, there are heirloom crops within that too, but they are a regenerative farm, or organic regenerative farm, where
Everything is homegrown.
yeah, so they create they take dirt and create it into soil.
They even have a little cafe, no?
Yeah, and now they have a cafe that's open now Wednesday till Sunday from noon to 8 p.m. One set menu the whole time, and everything is produced there on the farm. And I got to tell you, when you talk about flavors, the flavors that come from the simpleness of the food that they do
Yeah.
is there because of how it's grown.
And they have a wood burning oven.
Yeah,
everything.
it's just done with
And
passion.
it's also a place where you can learn, especially a lot of schools take classes there to learn about the ecology of living. You know, don't use the plastic. Use special
Yeah,
tools.
it's all about ecological, sustainable thinking.
Don't just pour fertilizer into the soil. Phosphate
Exactly,
into
and
the soil.
Evan has every cycle. He has a group of young students that want to be organic regenerative farmers. He trains them how to do it properly, and they go off and they're starting to sprinkle around the country now.
We're
And
gonna bring-
they're starting to
yeah.
retrain. So we're getting our farming back away from commodity farming, and Ecology Center is like a hub of that positive work that's going on.
We're going to bring Evan. In the
You have
show.
to, yeah. He
Please.
just so
Yeah.
he's so articulate in his mission, and he's well supported within the community. But they also have a lot of school children. Things like, we're detached from our food,
Totally.
right? We're detached from chickens. We're attached from rabbits. We're attached from our lamb.
I said this
You
to
know,
Chef all the
everything-
time. I never knew where food came from. It came from the store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're growing to the level of teaching children about how to turn dirt into soil.
And can
Soil, yes.
I'm going to make one more comment, and then we got to go here.
No,
Is-
I have
well, you
one
got-
more
Well, I
question.
know for me, I'm going to make one more comment. Here's my comment. A few years ago, when I really got into food, started going on to restaurants, I got a chance to go taste some heirloom stuff straight from a farm. A tomato. I thought I knew what a tomato tastes like because they all taste the same. I thought, no, there's a million of them. And the flavor, the explosion of flavor. You think you've tasted an apple or a tomato or something?
You know when you have a good tomato?
When?
When you smell.
Yeah.
Okay, never
If you
thought
take
of
a tomato in the store, there's no smell.
None, no. I
If
don't
you take it from the vine, from the field, yes, sense.
See?
Yeah.
So it isn't just it's good for you or it's good for the ecology, it's good for the land, the soil, everything. Yes, all of that's true. But it's good tasting. You're talking about the best ingredients, yeah.
We used to eat tomato just like that, just
Yeah.
like an apple.
Yeah, right.
And so now, okay,
Last comment.
one last thing. From not it doesn't work enough. A few years ago, he decided to have his own oyster farm. Can you?
Yeah.
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
we
oh,
have
come
a-
on. We could talk an hour. I love oysters.
have,
we could talk forever about oysters.
We have the largest farm in the Pacific Northwest. It's called Clausen Oyster. It's a 680 bay acreage farm where we have both off-bottom and on-bottom cultured oysters. And we were also, my proudest point of Clausen Oyster is we were able to create 4 reefs of oysters now that we haven't had a count or a drone account of what's there, but each reef must be over 2 million native Olympia oysters.
Wow.
But we were able to get them to spawn in the wild by just simple manipulation. And I hate to say, I think my farm manager Chris and I, in our talks, and he's a genius. He's one of the people in my life that I know that kid is a genius. He by putting some mother shell down from the Pacific oysters, the Crossotreus gigas, into the beds, the spat had collection points that were able to create these reefs, and I think that we out-farmed the scientists on that because they've had much failure of doing land-based
So you
oyster
recreate,
sets. Yeah,
you recreate an ecosystem of
Yeah.
growth.
yeah.
And so this isn't in a bay in the ocean? This
No,
is...
it's in the bay. It's what's called Coos Bay.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You
And-
know why it's in the bay? Because oysters like to have tides.
Yeah.
Up
Yes.
and down. They need to move with
Yeah.
the ocean.
The valve.
our,
yeah.
I believe the native Olympia oysters, which were from Canada to Baja, Mexico, they were wiped out during the gold rush years for a food source. But I also believe, and I haven't proved it yet, but I'm pretty sure it was Indian gentrification, a different way of, that was the millennium way of eating for the coastal tribal Indians was a lot of oysters.
Yeah.
And
Some people speculate that even on the East Coast, that the first Thanksgiving wasn't meat and potatoes like it is now. It probably had oysters.
oh yeah, mostly they had oysters and fish.
The
but
tribes that lived
Yeah.
along.
You
But
mean
I believe-
that was the
Oysters.
turkey of the sea?
I
don't
believe
know.
the decline of the Olympia oysters, as well as over harvesting, was part of it. I believe Indian gentrification of trying to starve the tribes out was another part of it. So we work with the Coquille Indian tribe there, and we don't grow those Olympias for consumption or for sale. We grow it simply for the health of the bay. And I think if there's anything I've done within oyster farming, outside of we're able to produce some of the best oysters with our own techniques that we created, not knowing anything, literally we created by not knowing anything, was that we were able to set those 4 large reefs now
Okay.
as a success.
How can we get your oysters?
Basically, we're not shipping directly right now, but if you're in North Bend, Oregon, which is in Coos Bay, our restaurant is open Wednesday through Sunday.
And what's it
We
called?
It's called Clausen Oyster Farm,
How do you
like
spell it?
Clausen, like the pickle, Clausen.
Okay.
And we are in North Bend, a beautiful space, and the restaurant literally overlooks the bay, and you're eating while workers are working around you. And
Love it.
I'm surprised that
Yeah.
Paddy didn't move there.
Yeah.
Forever, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we work up there a lot, and it's beautiful. A lot of plane miles, but
You work out. I see him
yeah.
flipping
Yeah.
bags on big
Oh,
sack
yeah.
of oysters. You know,
it's fantastic, and what it's great. The oyster farming is hard work. It is, but incredibly beautiful. If you
You're connected.
yeah,
with
our
your
office is outside, and
Yeah.
during the winter time is the low tides, for instance, and harvesting is done at night, so you have to be pretty hardy to walk in mud. You're sinking with 1 foot while
So
you're
the
pulling
mud
the other
flats
foot.
as
like
the
mud-
water has
yep,
pulled out.
Yep,
and-
the mud flats, and you are working at night. You're wet. It's cold. It's raining. It's 35 degrees outside,
Unbelievable.
but the work's still got to get done.
So one last thing I want to say, besides all your work, your hard work, and your dedication to top food, if you ever know you're in a business and you need help, you just call Paddy.
He's
Say,
there.
No problem. I get you that.
Yeah.
If you forget, I used to forget sometime to order something for a fish for the next day. Say, I deliver it. He just
No problem.
you
Customer
just-
service
I
is still
say,
part of
I
it.
bring
delivers
it.
it.
I come over.
He brings it in a cooler or something here.
It's amazing dedication.
And while I'm on the air, I challenge all the chefs listening to look at your menu and try to find one spot for one thing on your menu that you can shake a farmer's hand or a rancher's hand or a fisherman's hand to get that product on your menu, as opposed to just buying through purveyors and losing the connection you have with your food.
At one
know.
point, some chef used to put the name of the fisherman on the menu for each fish.
Really?
But right now it's very hard to, because you don't really know
I don't know where. Yeah, you don't know where it comes
Well,
from. It's gone through so
exactly,
many
yeah.
middlemen, particularly if it's been imported. Who knows
Yeah.
where it really?
But
Well, and I hope in that sense, Pascal, that the chefs that put the names of the farmers on the menu actually buy from those farmers.
yes,
Yeah.
You
true.
know, we've
Not for show, but
there-
for,
there's
you
a
know
lot
what I
of,
would suggest, recommended by Paddy Glennon.
Yeah. We at Superior Seafood like to call it consciously sourced,
Yeah.
as in, yes, we try to buy from the proper fisheries working with sustainable quota management, but also that there's no slavery involved, that there's no human rights activities involved. Like, you know,
and they get paid a fair wage. They don't
Yeah.
get ripped off for whatever they're spending their life doing here.
Yeah.
well, you know, Thailand has the most human rights slavery within their tuna fishery, mostly taking the people from Myanmar war that's going on
Yeah.
and putting them on board boats, and
Displaced people who
they're-
have nowhere to go
Yeah,
and they're
they're-
desperate.
they're slaves, and if they don't follow what's being called, they're shot and thrown overboard.
Oh my
All you
God.
have to do is Google it. It's not
Yeah.
like I'm making it up.
Oh my God.
But 80% of the tuna consumed in the United States comes from Thailand, and
Oh.
everyone's just quietly supporting that.
Two things in Orange County, actually in Newport Beach, where you can get fresh fish. You go to the dairy,
The Newport Dory fleet, yeah,
the fleet.
Saturday mornings, yeah.
Yeah, on the pier on the Balboa Peninsula.
Oh, that's where you can get really fresh fish.
Yes.
Also,
not at the supermarket. Where
No,
I shop?
even you can get live ocean too.
yeah,
Sea ocean.
and Pearson's Port is all
Pearson Port.
Pearson
You
Port
got to
as
bring
well,
it back because we're out of time.
Yeah.
We're way over out
Pearson
of time.
Port, if you want to have Santa Barbara prawns live,
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
place.
Pearson's Port is a great. My God, I wish people would shop there more. You know?
Come back again. Tell us more. Thank you. How do they reach you if they want to learn about any of these things you're doing? Your work, all 4 or 5 things you rattled off. Where do you want to send people to learn more about it?
You know, we're not a website kind of people. Like,
Oh,
it's funny.
see.
Superior Seafood's a big company. We don't even have a website. We're a huge company. Word of mouth is like, you know, your website is only as good as whatever you put up today.
Yeah.
So, you know, my cell is 949-975-9699.
Your cell? You're gonna
My
get,
cell,
people are
you
going to
can-
call you?
You can also find me on Instagram. DM me is probably the best. You know.
Yeah.
But
And
you
is
know,
it under Patrick or Patty?
Patty Fishmonger.
Patty Fishmonger.
Patty
Okay.
Patty
There you
Fishmonger.
go.
Yeah.
Patty the Fishmonger. Okay, thank you,
Thank
Patty the
you.
Fishmonger, for joining us. Pascal, take us
It's a
out.
pleasure to be here with Pascal.
There you
Oh
go,
my
you're
gosh,
welcome.
my dear
Thank
friend.
you. Yes. Merci.
Wow, all that and more. That's what's happening behind the kitchen doors. Tune in to hear more from the man who spent many, many years there and is bringing many friends along. And many friends he's making along the way today and tomorrow. Behind the kitchen door, right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios behind the doors here at UCI's Beale Applied Innovation Center.